Where in the world are you watching from? Drop your country in the comments. Before we dive into this heartwarming story, hit subscribe so you'll never miss the most courageous dog tales we share every day. Can a single bark change the course of a lifetime? Can an animal's raw instinct pierce through the most cunning human deception? Imagine a day like any other, a bustling airport terminal filled with the mundane symphony of travel. Luggage carts trundle, announcements crackle, and a million strangers pass by, lost in their own worlds. Then, in an instant, that rhythm shatters. A dog, a K-9, trained for precision and obedience, defies every command. His target, not a suspicious package, not a fleeing criminal, but a seemingly innocent family. What would you do if everything you knew, everything you trusted, was suddenly challenged by the primal, undeniable urgency of a loyal animal? The story I'm about to tell you is a testament to the extraordinary bond between humans and animals. A heart-stopping journey that begins with a single uncharacteristic growl and unravels into a chilling secret that will leave you breathless. It's a reminder that true heroism often walks on four paws, and that sometimes the most profound warnings come from the ones who can't speak a single human word. This is the story of Officer Liam Carter and his partner Buster, a gentle Labrador whose bark echoed the unspeakable. Liam was a K-9 officer, a man of routine and discipline. His partner was a beautiful, calm Labrador named Buster. You might picture a fierce German shepherd in a K-9 uniform, but Buster was different. With his gentle brown eyes and a tail that wagged with an easy rhythm, he was the picture of a loyal companion. Liam and Buster were a team, a well-oiled machine responsible for keeping the chaos of the airport safe. They'd patrolled terminals for years, a blur of khaki and gleaming golden fur, their presence a silent comfort to thousands of travelers. The terminal was a symphony of sounds, the crackle of announcements, the distant rumble of planes, the laughter of children. Amidst it all, a family hurried by. A man in a simple hoodie and a woman in an oversized beige coat holding the hands of a small boy and girl. To Liam, they were just another family running late for their flight. He glanced at them, then returned his focus to the steady stream of people flowing toward the gates. But Buster, who had been walking calmly by his side, suddenly stopped. The dog's ears shot forward, and a low, guttural growl rumbled in his chest, a sound that cut through the noise like a siren. His eyes, usually so gentle, were now locked on the couple and the children. Liam tugged at the leash, his voice firm but quiet. "Buster, heel," he commanded, trying to maintain control. But Buster wasn't listening. He lunged forward, snarling, blocking their path as they tried to hurry past. The man muttered something under his breath, his eyes darting around the terminal. The woman's face tightened her sunglasses, reflecting the harsh fluorescent lights. A small girl, no more than 3, looked up at Liam with wide eyes, as if she wanted to speak but couldn't. A chill ran down Liam's spine. Buster was trained to detect bombs, narcotics, dangerous people. He had never ever reacted like this to a family before. This was a classic man versus dog conflict, a test of Liam's faith in his partner against his own trained logic. He had to make a choice, trust the years of K-9 training or dismiss this as a mistake in a chaotic airport scene. Liam's gut twisted. He knew Buster's bark wasn't just a sound. It was a warning, the kind you ignore at your own risk. But the couple insisted they were just running late for their flight. The man offered a quick, tense smile, a performance that didn't quite reach his eyes. But Buster wasn't backing down. The dog's body was taut, his muscles vibrating like a coiled spring. His nose twitched, locked on the little boy's jacket, then the woman's oversized tote bag. And that's when Liam's own trained eyes caught something too. The faintest tremor in the boy's hand. The way the girl wouldn't meet his eyes. And that tote bag, it seemed far too big for a simple day trip. With a calm but firm gesture, Liam raised his hand. "Sir, ma'am, I'm going to need to check your ID and speak with you for a moment." That's when the mask began to slip. The man stiffened. The woman's lips tightened. And Buster's bark cut through the moment again, sharp, urgent, like an alarm bell. The air around them grew thick, heavy with unspoken tension. This was no longer about a late flight. This was something else entirely. And it was all because of a Labrador who had decided against all protocol that something was horribly wrong. The plot had just thickened, and it was about to get much, much worse. The tension in the air was palpable, thick and heavy, like the Seattle fog rolling in from Puget Sound. "Sir, ma'am." Liam began, his voice calm, steady, and deliberately polite. "I'm going to need to check your ID and speak with you for a moment." He watched their faces, trained to spot the slightest flicker of unease. The man, who introduced himself as Mark, offered a quick, forced smile. "We're just in a hurry, officer, late for our flight." His accent was flat, unplaceable, but his eyes darted nervously, betraying a frantic energy beneath the placid facade. Sarah, the woman, clutched the little girl's hand so tightly that the child whimpered softly. "It's been a long day of travel, you know," she insisted, her voice saccharine sweet, almost too perfect. Buster, however, wasn't fooled. The Labrador's low growl deepened a continuous rumble that vibrated through the air. He leaned closer to the little boy Leo, his nose twitching a laser-like focus in his intelligent brown eyes. Liam noticed it then, the faint tremor in Leo's small hands, the way Mia, the little girl, wouldn't meet anyone's gaze, her eyes fixed on the gleaming airport floor. And that oversized tote bag slung over Sarah's shoulder, it seemed far too bulky for just snacks and toys for the kids. "Mind if I take a quick look inside that bag?" Liam asked, his tone casual, but his gaze unwavering. Sarah hesitated just a fraction of a second, but it was enough. Liam caught the subtle stiffening of her shoulders, the almost imperceptible clench of Mark's jaw. Buster barked again, a sharp alert sound that Liam had learned to recognize over their years together. It wasn't just a bark. It was a signal, a flashing red light screaming danger. Something in that bag, or perhaps with those children, wasn't what it seemed. Liam's pulse quickened. He knelt down slightly, trying to meet Leo's gaze. "Hey there, buddy. Are you okay?" The boy's lower lip quivered, but he remained silent, a silence that was deafening in its implications. Sarah quickly stepped forward, placing her body between Liam and the children. "They're tired," she snapped, her voice suddenly clipped, the sweetness gone. "Long day of travel, you know." But Liam had been in this job too long to miss when someone was trying to shut down a conversation. His instincts, now fully aligned with Buster's, screamed that something was terribly wrong here. Buster, unbidden, circled around Sarah, his nose twitching as he sniffed at the back of her tote bag, letting out another low, rumbling growl. Liam noticed it then, as Leo shifted slightly, a thin red mark around the boy's wrist, like a rope or a zip tie had been there. His blood ran cold. "Sir, ma'am?" Liam's voice was now firm, all formality stripped away. "I'm going to need you both to step aside with me. We'll need to ask a few more questions before you board." Sarah opened her mouth to protest, but Buster let out another growl, louder this time, and both children flinched. That's when Mia, the little girl, did something that nearly shattered Liam's heart. She looked up at him with wide, tear-filled eyes and mouthed one desperate word. "Help." In that single silent plea, the entire world shifted. The polite smiles, the hurried excuses, the careful charade, it all evaporated, revealing a chilling truth. Liam's heart pounded in his chest. He knew with an absolute certainty that this was not a family. This was a rescue mission, and it was all thanks to a very good boy named Buster. The game was on, and the stakes couldn't be higher. The single whispered word, "help," hung in the air, a devastating silence amid the airport's clamor. Liam's heart lurched. All the polite smiles, the hurried excuses, the careful charade, it shattered in an instant, revealing a chilling, undeniable truth. This wasn't a family. This was a nightmare in plain sight. Mark saw the shift in Liam's eyes, the moment of undeniable realization. Without a word, he yanked Leo's arm and lunged for the nearest exit, Sarah right behind him, dragging Mia along. "Don't!" Liam barked, his hand instinctively going to his holster. But it was Buster who reacted first. The calm, gentle Labrador transformed into a blur of golden muscle. He didn't attack violently. Instead, with uncanny precision, he launched forward, not biting, but using his powerful body to intercept Mark mid-stride. Buster clamped down on Mark's pant leg, a firm, non-injurious grip, and with a powerful tug, sent the man sprawling across the polished airport floor. Sarah screamed a shrill, panicked sound, and in her desperation, the oversized tote bag slipped from her shoulder, hitting the floor with a dull thud. Its contents spilled out, a horrific tableau of a planned abduction. Liam's hands froze as he saw it not just snacks and toys, but a bottle of sedatives, a roll of zip ties, a burner phone, and a small folded piece of paper with 2 names scrawled in block letters, Leo and Mia. His breath hitched. The world seemed to narrow, the airport noise fading to a distant hum as the pieces clicked into place with sickening clarity. Leo and Mia weren't their children. They were victims. And Shadow. Buster. He had seen it all along. Within seconds, the terminal was a whirlwind of motion. Other officers, alerted by Liam's shouted commands, and Buster's relentless barks, swarmed the scene. Mark, winded and defeated, was quickly cuffed. Sarah, trembling and pale, offered no resistance as she too was restrained. Liam knelt beside the children, pulling them close, their small bodies shaking with fear, clinging to him like lifelines. "It's over," he whispered, his voice rough with emotion. "You're safe now." Buster, ever vigilant, watched the cuffed couple, his tail giving a low, satisfied wag. This wasn't just a random act of madness. This was the cold, calculated machinery of human trafficking. It's a dark reality where the most innocent among us are commodified, moved across borders like cargo, hidden in plain sight. Traffickers often operate under the cloak of normalcy, using forged documents, leveraging psychological manipulation, and exploiting vulnerabilities in systems designed for trust. They count on us being too busy, too distracted, or simply too trusting to see the subtle signs. How many times had similar families passed through these very gates, their grim secrets shielded by an illusion of everyday life? It was a chilling thought, a stark reminder of the hidden evils that exist beneath the surface of our bustling world. The terrifying truth was, without Buster, without that gut instinct that defied logic and protocol, Leo and Mia might have simply vanished into the vast anonymous network. They were the lucky ones, pulled back from the precipice by the unwavering loyalty and keen senses of a very good boy. But Liam knew this was just the beginning. This wasn't an isolated incident. It was a thread, and that thread was about to lead them to a much, much larger web. The real work, the true hunt, was just about to begin. The Seattle-Tacoma airport bust was just the tip of the iceberg. What Liam and Buster uncovered wasn't just an isolated incident, but a single horrifying thread in a vast, tangled web. The evidence from Sarah's bag, the sedatives, the zip ties, the burner phone, the chilling list of names, became the key that unlocked a darker, far more organized reality. Within hours, Liam and Buster found themselves in a sterile, windowless briefing room far removed from the bustling terminals. They were surrounded by sharp-eyed agents from the FBI's Human Trafficking Division, Homeland Security, and local police. The lead agent, a no-nonsense woman named Agent Anya Sharma, pointed to a giant map of the United States. Red dots, each representing a similar case, glowed ominously across the country: Los Angeles, Miami, Chicago, even small, unsuspecting towns in the Midwest. "This isn't just one couple running off with kids," Agent Sharma stated, her voice cutting through the hushed room. "This is a meticulously organized network. They exploit weaknesses in our system. Fake documents, bribes, intimidation. They move children across state lines, through airports, bus stations, even public events, selling them into unimaginable horror." Liam felt the weight of her words settle deep within him. He thought of all the times reports had crossed his desk dismissed as runaway teens or custody disputes. But Buster had seen what Logan hadn't. The deeper they dug, the more chilling the picture became. The network was controlled by a figure known only as the Architect within their circles, a man whose real identity was almost too mundane to be true. He was not a shadowy figure in a back alley. No, the Architect was Elias Thorne, a well-respected philanthropist, the CEO of a multi-million-dollar logistics company, and a prominent advocate for children's charities. This was the twist no one saw coming. The man funding orphanages and speaking at anti-trafficking conferences was in fact orchestrating the very crimes he publicly condemned. His logistics empire provided the perfect cover, allowing him to seamlessly transport his cargo across the nation, exploiting his own legitimate channels. Liam studied Thorne's photo on the screen, a benevolent smile, kind eyes, a perfectly tailored suit. It was the face of a man who commanded trust, who could blend seamlessly into any setting. A true wolf in sheep's clothing. This was the banality of evil in its most terrifying form. A monster hiding behind a veneer of respectability. Buster, sensing the shift in Liam's mood, let out a low growl from beneath the table, his eyes fixed on Thorne's image on the screen, as if recognizing the darkness emanating from him. The task force worked relentlessly, fueled by a grim determination. Days blurred into nights as they pieced together flight logs, surveillance footage, and financial transactions. They uncovered Thorne's network of seemingly legitimate travel facilitators and adoption agencies. All fronts for his insidious operation. The data was overwhelming, but Buster's initial alert, his unwavering focus on the children, had given them the crucial starting point. Finally, after weeks of intense investigation, the time came for the takedown. It was a cold, rainy dawn in Portland, Oregon. The target, a seemingly innocuous warehouse on the outskirts of the city, one of Thorne's many shipping hubs. The air hummed with tension, a mix of adrenaline and anticipation. Liam was there. Buster crouched silently at his side, muscles, coiled eyes fixed on the entrance. The scene was eerily similar to the airport, but the stakes were infinitely higher. This wasn't just about two children. It was about dismantling an entire empire of suffering. FBI tactical teams cloaked in black moved like ghosts. Commands were whispered through earpieces. Then the lead agent gave the signal, "Go!" The warehouse doors burst open. Commands rang out, followed by the scuffle of takedowns, the metallic click of cuffs. Liam moved in Buster, a blur of purpose beside him. And there, amidst the chaos, stood Elias Thorne. He didn't flinch. He simply raised his hands, that same practiced, harmless smile on his face. Liam stepped forward, Buster bristling at his side. Thorne's eyes, devoid of emotion, flickered to Buster. "So this is the animal," Thorne said, his voice smooth, chillingly calm. "The mutt who messed up my plans." Liam's jaw clenched, but his voice was steady. "No," he replied, looking Thorne dead in the eye. "He's the one who saved 2 kids. And thanks to him, you're going to prison for a very, very long time." Thorne's smile faltered just for a moment, a tiny crack in his facade. It was enough. The architect's empire had crumbled. The operation was over. The relief that washed over Liam was immense, but it was also tinged with a deep, unsettling understanding of the darkness they had just confronted. The battle was won, but the war against such evils was far from over. And as they walked out into the cold Portland rain, Liam knew with absolute certainty that Buster had truly been the first and most crucial hero in this entire horrifying saga. The adrenaline of the raid slowly receded, leaving Liam with a profound sense of exhaustion and a quiet, heavy satisfaction. Elias Thorne, the polished facade of the architect shattered, was now just a prisoner, his empire of human suffering dismantled. Back in the quiet of his temporary office, far from the Portland warehouse, Liam sat Buster resting calmly at his feet. The files on his desk, now marked closed, held photos of Leo and Mia, timidly smiling at the camera, a social worker kneeling between them. They were safe. That's what truly mattered. Liam looked down at Buster, stroking the Labrador's soft fur. "You know," he murmured, his voice soft in the stillness, "they train us to read people, to look for the signs. But you just knew. No questions, no doubts. You knew something was wrong from the very first bark." Buster thumped his tail, once a slow, steady rhythm, an unspoken agreement between partners. Liam rubbed a hand over his face, feeling the weight of it all settle in. This wasn't just a one-time case. The network had been stopped, but others like it were out there. For every child saved, there were still more waiting for someone to notice. The road to recovery for children like Leo and Mia is long and arduous. Their physical wounds might heal, but the unseen scars, the trauma of their ordeal, often linger for years. Dedicated social workers, therapists, and supportive families become their new anchors, guiding them through a journey of healing and rediscovery. Their courage, though often silent, is as profound as any hero's. And speaking of heroes, how often do we overlook the quiet, steady devotion of those who walk on four paws? Buster wasn't just a dog. He was an early warning system, a loyal protector, a partner who perceived danger beyond human limitations. His unshakable sense of loyalty, his intuitive ability to sense distress and deception, saved lives that day. This story is a powerful reminder that sometimes the most profound insights don't come from logic or training, but from the raw, unfiltered instincts of a creature whose only goal is to protect. So here's a question for you. Have you ever had a moment when trusting your gut feeling or someone else's seemingly irrational instinct made all the difference? Perhaps it was a quiet whisper from a child, a strange feeling about a situation, or even the unusual behavior of a beloved pet. Don't ignore those nudges. In a world bustling with distractions, the smallest voices, the most subtle cues can often hold the most profound truths. Our story ends not with a grand celebration, but with a quiet evening on Liam's porch. The Seattle skyline glowed in the distance, and the familiar sounds of crickets filled the air. Liam sipped a warm drink, Buster resting his head on Liam's knee. For a long time, they just sat there, man and dog, watching the world quietly carry on. The fight against human trafficking is far from over, but thanks to heroes like Liam and Buster, there's always hope. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Remember, sometimes the greatest heroes walk on four paws, and sometimes the most important lesson is to simply listen to the barks that no one else can hear.